coming up on this week's Course of Life podcast. We're recapping a massive week at Quail Hollow for the 107th PGA Championship in Charlotte, North Carolina, where, of course, we had the inevitable Scottie Scheffler dominant performance, but there were so many storylines. I was able to cover a bunch of them early in the week when I was there, so we have some awesome press conference clips from my questions to Scottie, Jordan Spieth, Club Pro Ryan Lenahan, and a whole lot more coming up on a loaded Course of Life podcast that starts now.
Hello, interwebs, and welcome to Course of Life. I'm Michael, he's Alex. And Alex, I'm going to say what we wish Jim Nance had said on Sunday. Okay. From jail to quail, Scottie Scheffler claims his third major victory, his 15th career victory. He could complete the career Grand Slam this year with two more majors.
That's a
Scottie
nice
Scheffler wins by 5. The only player to win 3 straight majors by 5 strokes or more.
Wow,
I think I
impressive.
saw something like that. I think
dominance in many forms, right there.
Dominant.
Jail to quail. That's a beauty. I like that one. Wow.
I saw it on Twitter. I won't take credit for that one. I saw.
How about that year? Yeah, that 1 year time lapse right there from Valhalla, quite literally getting arrested and being in a jail cell. Obviously, kind of threw his quest for a PGA off last year, and 1 year later, lifting the trophy with his baby there to watch it all.
Yeah, let's go through the course of the week, and then we'll talk about Scottie's big win. You, of course, were there early in the week. We're able to see the course, see the giant mansions along the side as well. We'll talk about that in a second. But let's start with some press conference clips that you were there with, and we'll ask some questions of the pros. And let's start with a guy who I think we all love and was trying and hoping to finish his career Grand Slam title chase here. Wasn't able to get it done, but Jordan Spieth.
Yeah, indeed. The former Texas Longhorn, little Austin connection there. And I had to ask him about a very specific memento in Austin, Texas that ties in directly to that quest that we're all going to be watching as he tries to get the career Grand Slam.
It's very cool. I mean, I loved going out there. I spent not long enough, but a lot of days going out and working on my game out there. They have a really cool, majors trophy in the team facility as well. It's a Longhorn trophy, and it's every Longhorn that's won a major and what it was. And, I think that's a pretty awesome one too. There's a very cool one at the course I grew up at Brookhaven in Dallas. So, I mean, just places that are close to my heart where I learned to love the game, got better at the game, led me to being able to play it professionally and compete at a high level. Those are a few of the most special places to me anywhere in the world, to be honest. And I love going back to UT Club when I get the chance. I'm planning on doing it, more often in the future than I've been able to the last couple of years. Kids get a little older. It'll be fun to take them and show them. And but yeah, it's just a very nice thing to do. It's moved on to Scottie's more recently, and I'd love to step back in there and add to it, I guess.
So Jordan, not a great week. Let's be honest, not a great week.
No, yeah, he was nowhere near the board when he needed to be, and this is going to now be a thing that kind of carries on. We obviously marvel at everything he's done in the early part of his career. He's looking to resurrect some of that major championship glory, but now that he's got 3 out of 4. This is going to be revisited every May from venue to venue as he tries to get the last one.
If I was him, obviously you want to get that last one in. You want to get your PGA. It's at Aronimink next year in the Philly area. But really, if I were him, you want to win in your home state. So you want to win in Frisco at PGA Frisco in 2027. I mean, that's the one.
Nice. Right? That's a nice early shot call right there by you. 2 years in advance.
2 years in advance. Call it right now. Jordan Spieth wins the PGA at Frisco.
Yeah, 2 good cracks now. Aronimink next year in Philadelphia for the way too early preview is like a super old school course. It's like an old school course, a little bit of a shorter track, a little bit of a work your way around the course type of course. that does play into his favorites. And 2 years from now in Texas. So that door is going to continue to be open, and the hype train will be there every May for Jordan Spieth.
And of course, the other thing at the PGA that we love to talk about, and something that we've been covering for the last couple of years now, is all the club pros that make their way and play into the PGA. You, of course, were at the PGA Professional Championship just a couple of weeks ago, and were following some of those guys, and you got to keep following them around as they showed up and started to get ready for their rounds at a major championship.
That's right, yeah. And I caught up with one in Ryan Lenahan, who you remember, Michael, a couple weeks ago, famously played the wrong golf ball in the national championship and still qualified for Quail Hollow. How about that one?
That's just crazy.
Yeah, so I caught up with Ryan outside the practice area just before he got going with his major championship week, and it was really a full circle week for Ryan.
All right, we're at the practice green. Ryan Lenahan made it to Quail Hollow. How was it getting here, and how's the week been so far?
It's been great. After the PPC, the weather wasn't great back. I had 2 days, I think, in the 40s or whatever, so great weather to prepare for a major. But since I've been here, it's been great. I will say over the weekend, it was really firm here, like incredibly firm. We had overnight rain Saturday night. Of course, played completely different on Sunday. Night and day different. And obviously we had rain all day yesterday, or a lot of the day yesterday, some rain today. And so Saturday's round, you couldn't even make a ball mark. And wedges were going like 9 yards past where it was hitting. It was
sounds like Florida a few weeks ago.
Yeah, exactly. It was like exactly what we played a few weeks ago at the Wanamaker. But it's been great. It's a really long course, especially with this rain. I can't even believe how long it's playing. I had 268 into a par 4, and I hit my drive like 300 one of the days over the weekend. And for a par 4, almost having 270 is crazy.
Definitely. So, it's going to play major championship distance for sure. I'm curious, have you had any fun major championship, I've arrived moments? Anyone you bumped into, walked by, hit balls next to you?
All right, well, I got one for you. So yesterday I go to the tour van, and I was inside with my wife and kids, and we were eating. And I said, I'll be right back. I had some club work done, so I had to go pick up in the tour van. I come back, and I wasn't looking at my phone, and we were in a monsoon when I was in the van. Yep. So I come back, and my wife sent me a picture, and Scheffler was playing with my kids in the clubhouse, literally laying on the ground, playing with my kids, laying down as if he was in the van.
As if he's not busy enough, right?
Yeah, exactly. And he was laying down, and my wife said that she talked to Scottie's wife, Meredith, and Scottie for a while, and they just chatted, and here I was stuck in the van just because it was downpouring. I literally couldn't leave because it was raining so hard. It was the course was flooding at that point. So for them, it was really cool, and I wish I would have bumped into them. I would have tried to maybe get a practice round in with them. I have a friend of mine that's maybe trying to get us to play tomorrow. I don't know if it's going to happen or not.
A lot more fun to come this week, right?
Yeah, exactly. But other than that, it's just been fun just being around in the atmosphere. And the crowds are kind of picking up a little bit today. Obviously, there was no spectators yesterday. So, it's picked up, and it's kind of fun playing in front of people. I'm not used to having practice rounds with people around it. It's a month.
A fun little Charlotte homecoming for you as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's awesome being back here. And, I've already had a few friends that came out and watched me play some holes today, which is awesome. I haven't seen them since I've moved and everything, and I have some more friends coming in as the week goes on. And so it's been great. Just familiar faces. Played here before. I lived so close to here. It's awesome to be back.
So Ryan, not making the cut, unfortunately. That's it's hard out there.
Oh my God, is it ever? Play well. 7,600 yards, wet course. My word.
Yeah. At least he got to see some magnificent mansions along this course. Quail Hollow, known for its massive homes. That one behind the 7th green and 8th tee. Whew.
Yeah, that might be the one. I did a great Instagram post where you can pick your mansion of the 3 nicest ones that were along the right side of hole 14. Now, those are all beautiful in their own right. Valued $6, $7, $8 million. I can tell you for a fact that one behind the 7th green, I think a lot of people saw on the broadcast this past weekend. It's worth a little bit more. I'll let you do digging yourself, but I'm definitely going to highlight that one this week on Instagram at Course of Life Alex. So very cool to catch up with Ryan and his wife Amy during the practice rounds, and awesome to see them have that major championship experience.
All right, let's turn our attention to Scottie Scheffler. Of course, a lot of pressure on him at the beginning of the week because he did just win 2 weeks prior at the Byron
CJ,
Nelson.
Yeah.
So you know, a lot of different questions you could have asked him. I'm disappointed you did not ask him about how much ravioli making he's still doing.
Yep. There was a joke about that early on, and basically all the gaming, are you ready to roll questions were taken care of. So I wanted to get his perspective because I've been covering the Club Pro narrative for a few weeks this year and a few years now. And I love just hearing Scottie, professional as always, talking about his viewpoint of the unique field at the PGA Championship.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of fun to have those guys in this tournament. You know, I think the PGA pros do a lot for the game of golf, you know, running tournaments all over the country, teaching people all over the country, and it's a huge organization, and they do a lot for our game. So it's really fun to have the guys here for a week and play and compete. And I mean, it seems like each year you see a couple of them make the cut, and you know, some of them definitely have the game to be out here. It just may not be the lifestyle that they want. And you know, like I said, they're very important to the game of golf. So it's good for us to have them out here for a week.
Scottie always having great perspective, providing great answers to the media.
Love him. Love him for it. Yeah,
we'll talk about
it's great to see because I've had a few interactions with him now, and he's always really graceful like that.
Yeah, we'll talk about someone who maybe doesn't do that a little later. But let's talk about Scottie and his week and the week as it played out. Mud balls galore that first week. Scottie's been very vocal about mud balls, I feel like.
Yeah, which was big because, you know, he's usually very reserved on that stuff. But he was like, hey, by the way, just get your pens and papers out. This is the last time I'm going to comment on this, but allow me to now rip on mud balls for 2 minutes straight. So he did it very professionally, and then he let loose.
I mean, look, I understand the frustration with mud balls and this feeling that you should be able to do a pick and clean and replace when the ground's that wet. But look, you're a fucking professional golfer, Scottie. Play the ball as it lies and deal with it.
There's a lot. I mean, it's a very heated debate because there's a lot of people that say, I want to see them clean the ball, have the cleanest ball to perform the best, most accurate shot in the moment each time. But there's also a large faction of people like yourself that say, hey, listen, the ball is being played on a surface of grass. It is a natural game out in the wild. If a little bit of dirt gets on your ball, guess what? You're going to have to play the rest of that hole with that little bit of dirt. That's the way the game goes.
I love Scottie. I'm a big fan of Scottie Scheffler. But Scottie, if you want to play a clean ball every time, then you should go to the TGL and you should play it on a simulator all the time.
Yeah. By the way, he's not in the TGL. So Scottie, if you want a clean ball every Monday and Tuesday night on ESPN,
that's
you go play the TGL.
If you want to win big money and have major championships, then you play on the PGA Tour and you deal with mud balls, and that's how it is. All right. Just be happy that you even get to play now with rangefinder. With rangefinders and everything.
Yeah.
So
they're starting to bring those in. Yeah.
It's just
funny.
Okay.
Yep.
But Scottie had a pretty pedantic start to the week. I think that's maybe a good word to use it.
Yep.
Just kind of sat there. I think it was Thursday, the end of the day, Thursday or Friday, I texted you and I was like, wow, what a leaderboard. Start off the PGA. There was literally no names on that leaderboard outside of Johnny Vegas.
Yeah, it was very much a Wells Fargo championship / Truist championship-esque leaderboard early in the week. Yeah.
Yeah. And Johnny Vegas, by the way, let's just, I feel like retro shout out for us. I remember when we were saying how much we were looking forward to seeing Johnny Vegas on tour and thinking that he was going to be racking up wins right and left. Maybe not the career perspective we thought, but I was sitting there early in the week thinking, man, this would be great to see him just almost wire to wire win this and just hold on and claim a major.
He's a good guy. He's a Texas Longhorn. He's got ties to the Austin area. It's like one of those things. They broke it down a little bit on Thursday and Friday. He's won 4 times on the PGA Tour, but they've never really been large-scale events. He's never been anywhere close to contending in a major. He'd never finished in the top 20 in a major. So, he's one of those guys that's a fixture if you follow golf like you and I, but if you're looking at who wins on the big stages, he's never a name you would have seen. So he was the underdog story to start the week.
Yep. But then Saturday came and Johnny Vegas wasn't quite able to keep it going. Siwoo Kim was kind of at the top there too. He was struggling a little bit to hold on. The back nine became the story as we expected it would. It always does at a major, in both directions for everyone. It seemed.
So let's talk about who it threw away first, and that was Bryson DeChambeau, who was leading the tournament on the back nine on Saturday, and that got my attention big time. And then the green miled him, basically.
I mean, it was for everyone other than Scottie Scheffler. The green mile lived up to its reputation. You had balls in the water, including from Bryson, which just ruined his chances on Saturday. And these guys, they just weren't able to handle these 3 holes. And, they just weren't able to do it.
530-yard par 4, Michael.
Yeah,
16.
It's crazy to me still.
With water all the way down the left side for your approach. And then, by the way, you've already gotten over water being on the left on 16. Then you step up to the 17th tee, and that same water is all the way down the left side again, just taunting you for a 200-yard par 3. Yeah. And then you fire on the 18th tee, and guess what? It's a big booming par 4 up the hill with water all the way down the left side. So it just racks your brain for the entire finish.
And so Bryson short on the par 3 17th in the water.
Yeah.
Which was just crazy. Of all the people to be short, it's
last golfer in the world to be short on anything.
Yeah, it's just horrendous.
Yep.
And that ruined his chances. And Scottie, of course, on Saturday, over the last 5 holes of his round, went eagle, birdie, par, birdie, birdie.
And that's the part 2 of the Tiger Woods story. The part 1 you mentioned earlier is Tiger Woods being able to do things back in the day, like turning 74s into 71s or 70s or 72s into 69s. And that's what Scottie did on Thursday and Friday. The part 2 is that magical moment when he decides to start to impose his will in the tournament. And that's what you saw at the end of the day on Saturday.
Yeah, it was kind of like he was just like, okay, I've decided I want to win this tournament.
Yeah. I hung around for long enough, and now it's serious time.
Yeah, exactly. So he put himself in position, had a comfy lead going into Sunday. Bryson was then no longer an issue, and then Sunday, while everyone was getting to the turn, Scottie was out in 37, not great. You had John Rahm, a name we have not said in a long time, surging hard,
big time,
and taking the lead, going 4 under. 3 under over 4 holes between 8 and 11. And then he just couldn't seem to buy a putt anymore. And then again, a live golfer on the green mile doesn't seem to do well.
Yes, second time, I guess so. With the wear and tear at the end of the day, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
72 holes versus 54.
Double bogey 17, ball in the water, just like Bryson. Double bogey 18. Just horrendous. And then again, Scottie. Birdie,
he flipped something on the back nine.
Finish,
he was hitting it left throughout the entire front nine. Everything was going left. And then you flip to the back nine, and all of a sudden the driver is going right down the middle of the fairway. So I don't know what he did on the walk to 9 to 10, but it worked, and he got things under control. He reined it in, and he did exactly what the true champion does. Gut it out with kind of your B plus game and still look dominant along the way.
So a couple questions about Scottie's ability here. Well, comment on his ability is that it feels like there's no one out there on the course right now who is able to maybe flip that switch and make those changes mid-round as well as Scottie Scheffler is.
Correct. That's a great thing to point out, because I'm talking about the gutted out thing and his toughness and his resilience, but there's also what happened between 9 and 10 there, and the idea that he was pulling drives the entire front nine. All of a sudden he steps up to the 10th tee and delivers a perfect high fade right down the middle of the fairway, follows it up with a good drive on 12. These things all matter in clutch moments, so him being able to flip that's monumental.
Yep. And so then the question is too around Scottie. So we found out too that Scottie's driver had been disqualified early in the week for being. Yeah,
I mean, there's some weird, testing that goes on throughout the week, and I mean, this is kind of like a torpedo bat thing. I would equate it to for golf purposes. I mean, one of those things where it's like, slight advantage, but I don't know if it was game changing.
Yeah, it didn't sound like it was. He made a comment. He knew it was coming, that it was probably going to reach a point where that driver wasn't going to be good anymore. It had lasted him for about a year. These drivers get bendy and they start falling out of compliance. So he was ready for it mentally, it sounded like, going into the week. So, and then he made a comment too about how this testing should be happening more proactively. Instead of doing a third of the field every week, they should be testing the entire field every week.
Yeah, I mean, is that just a bodies thing? Are they just too lazy to do the entire field every week, or what?
Maybe he made a comment to this, and it's true. It's a new rule, it's a new thing they're doing, so they're maybe still trying to figure out the best way to do it. I think maybe at a major they should be testing the whole field.
Hopefully.
I could see not doing it at the Rocket Mortgage Classic.
Right. Yeah. No offense. And then,
No offense.
And then Rory got in a little bit of issue with the driver as well, too.
Yeah. Rory, we found out at the beginning of the week that his driver had been disqualified. He wasn't really maybe real happy to be there. It sounded like during his press conference on Tuesday.
I don't know. Yeah. It was a very conspicuous week for Rory McIlroy. I was a little just confused. I don't know, because he just, again, come off the, most important golfing achievement of his life. Dreams come true, life dream realized, had a fantastic celebration, which he didn't really kind of publicize much about. That's fine. That's his choice. Comes back at his next major. He had a fun little week at the Zurich with his buddy Shane Lowry in New Orleans. Didn't win, but played okay. I don't know. He just kind of had a bit of a weird vibe in his press conference on Wednesday, and then kind of weirdly decided to cancel all media availability for the rest of the week post round, which is very unique for anyone who doesn't know. There's post round availability after every competitive round. Most players oblige to it all the time. Mm-hmm. Some choose to just do it here and there or when they're in the mood to. So it's surprising to see him turn it down 4 days in a row.
Do you think that? And it has felt this way, maybe especially after he was hung out to dry by the PGA Tour over the Live Golf thing, that he's just kind of over it and fed up with it. And he might be trying
to really just shrink into his bubble right now.
And part of me too is like, look, he's done now arguably what he has been trying to do his entire career. He's finally gotten he's got his career Grand Slam. What does he have left to prove?
Yeah, it's fair. And people were asking him that, and they were asking him, what's your next North Star in the press conference? And he actually sat there for 10 or 15 seconds and said, honestly, I don't really have anything specific when you phrase it like that, So,
that's, know what? And I would argue that's a problem, Rory. That's a problem. You got to figure that out because, you can't just say I'm here to win the golf tournament, but you've now done what so few other golfers have done. You need to set the next step, right?
Yeah, that's the constant pursuit of greatness right there. Yeah. That's what that is. Because the next barrier.
We know that there's
that goes
two
for
other
everyone
guys,
in life, no matter how big or small the stakes are.
Yeah. So we know that over the course of this year, there's still two more opportunities for someone to win a career Grand Slam. We, of course, have Phil Mickelson at the U.S. Open.
Yes, love that.
Spoiler alert, it's not going to happen.
Really?
I would put more money down on Jordan Spieth getting a career Grand Slam than Phil Mickelson. Hands down.
Didn't exactly see Phil on the range or the practice screen too much this week. I'll just say
he didn't make the cut, did he? Was he like bottom of the leaderboard? I think
he finished 8 or 9 over for the week.
Yeah, he did not do well. A lot of the live guys did not do well.
And then who can complete it at the Open in July? Who's that?
Well, Yusuf? He would need to win both the U.S. and the Open, and that would be Scottie Scheffler. And look, Scottie Scheffler over his first 23 major starts has a better top 10 and top 25 percentage than one Eldrick Tiger Woods.
Wow. We love hammering these Scottie versus Tiger stats, but when you start piling them up, and there's several of them, you start to build a case.
We've said this a couple times now that we constantly are looking for these comparisons. We have for years. Who's the next Tiger? Who's the next Tiger? We keep trying to pick these guys up. We thought it was Jordan Spieth at one point.
Yep.
And
we thought it was Rory at one point.
And it didn't turn out to be. The level of play and the consistency out of Scottie, even when he's not on his A game, continues to kind of look like he's the guy we can really compare to Tiger Woods.
Yep.
Now, obviously, he's got to keep doing this over the next 10 years.
Yep.
But right now, are we getting close to being able to say he's as good as one of Tiger's runs?
For sure, yeah. I'd say maybe most comparatively, maybe the 07 run, the second one. Let's see what happens the rest of this season. If he does clip maybe one or two more of those majors, then you start doing the comparison to the ultimate 2000, 2001 Tiger Slam run that we talked about. But at this point, maybe more shades of 07, where he got a couple of majors and won a bunch of times, Player of the Year. So, you now have the receipts for Scottie Scheffler versus Tiger Woods comparisons.
So, Scottie Scheffler, now a 2 different major champion. Yep. We didn't talk about it, but just real quick, how much do we think it mattered that Quail Hollow is just a little bit like Augusta?
Yep. To quote Hunter Mahan, he compared to a Kardashian, modern, beautiful and well kept, but lacking solar character. I happen to disagree with that quote that went viral all week. I think it's an absolutely gorgeous track that does have soul and character. But yes, the Augusta comparisons are very real. It was giving lots of Augusta National vibes. And you kind of even texted me in the moment Sunday night saying, Scottie basically just got 3 Masters now, right? Kind of gave that vibe because Quail Hollow looks like Augusta.
Just a little bit. So Scottie with a victory and also that super wholesome moment bringing the 1-year-old into the scoring
area
to finish up. That was just fantastic. So I'm pretty sure he's not going to play next week in Fort Worth at the Charles Schwab Challenge at Colonial. Nope. Just unlikely. At the same time, I also wouldn't be surprised if he did because he did win the Masters and then go play the RBC Heritage and win the RBC Heritage last year. So
he does stuff like that. But
he does do stuff like that
for sure.
But I'm sure he's going to take some time off. We'll see about the Memorial at Muirfield in 2 weeks, where he is the defending champion.
Oh, there. Shocker! Yeah.
We have to talk about the PGA Tour champions.
Okay.
Because reformed convict.
Yeah.
Angel Cabrera.
That's not a TMZ statement. And that's a factual statement right there.
Is now a 2-time winner this season on the Champions Tour after winning the Regions Tradition in Birmingham, Alabama over Jerry Kelly.
Yeah, this is probably one of the more conflicting storylines in golf, I would say, because, again, 2 different factions in the world, depending on where you look on the internet. One faction will tell you that Angel Cabrera is a major champion that had some struggles in life and is now, did his sentence for the crime he committed, which you can look up on your own. You can go down that rabbit hole, and he's, reformed and a better man because of it. You can also kind of look at what he did and wonder, where he is in life and what his attitude should be. I've seen kind of some weird storylines about his attitude post coming out of jail that make me think he's not exactly like the most appreciative human being in the world. But regardless, the storyline just of Angel Cabrera winning fresh out of jail is certainly a quizzical one here in 2025.
Yeah, it's interesting. He's now won 2 events on tour.
Yeah.
So, and the question I have is, especially with the senior PGA coming up at Congressional this next week,
he's probably one of the favorites.
If he wins,
and he gets he gets into next year's PGA Championship as well. How about that?
Is he then a favorite for Player of the Year on the Champions Tour?
Yeah, probably. I mean, at this point, he's definitely in the running with the 2 wins, including the Regions Tradition, which I think they kind of technically call a major on the PGA Tour Champions. So, when you just look at the comeback on a golf scale, if you just forget the human being aspect and you just look at what he's done to be away from the game for that long and come back and recreate this form, truly unbelievable. Yeah. People forget Angel Cabrera is on that career Grand Slam graphic too. He's got a Masters and a U.S. Open. He actually has half the career Grand Slam. Probably one of the most forgotten things in golf, I'd say.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. He is 5th in the Schwab Cup rankings right now on the senior circuit as well. So
nice.
Just crazy. Angel Cabrera.
Yeah, Congressional this week, Senior PGA Championship. That should be a good watch as well.
It should be really great to see. All right, so Alex, are you done traveling now? You've done a whirlwind over these last couple months. Are you taking a break at all? Or are you?
Yes, finally.
Yeah, okay.
I'm okay with not flying for a few weeks.
Yeah.
We'll get into my flight in a moment here, but next tourney up is going to be the KPMG Women's PGA. That's a home game.
Yeah.
We're just driving up to Frisco for that. We mentioned Frisco is the 2027 PGA Championship host.
Yep.
They're also the host of this year's Women's PGA. Yep. So excited to see the LPGA talent that I just saw last month in Houston at the Chevron Championship.
And you saw that course last year for the PGA Professional Championship.
Bear. There's the East and the West course. The East course is going to be the one that's hosting the major championships. And when that breeze gets going out there, it is a brute of a track. So I'm very curious to see how Nelly Korda and all the best females handle that one soon next month.
So what was going on then on the plane? Well, you got one last plane story for us here because I know something happened.
Yeah, the loud guy behind me who's bragging about his mileage status. That's always a fun one, right?
You were in coach, right?
Yeah, I was in the row in front of the emergency exit row.
Okay.
So this guy's probably a 20-something man, emergency exit row. We haven't even pulled out of the gate yet, Michael, and he's already bragging about his mileage status and the fact that the flight attendants just throw him whiskey whenever he wants. So that, as soon as I heard that, I knew I was going to be in for a flight. So braggadocious, loud guy ended up passing out, fortunately, about 45 minutes in the plane. I think he only got a couple drinks before he was
too much whiskey. So, he's a lightweight.
Yeah, exactly. So, you can do a lot of bragging at the beginning about how much whiskey the flight attendants will bring you. But if you just can't hold your water, then, you're not going to make it the entire plane ride. So other than that, pretty smooth trail back.
I feel like you shouldn't be boasting about your status unless you're like in first.
Yeah, it would be a little bit more of a flex if you're in 1A, right?
If you're in coach, look, I get it. In coach exit row, I think that is also like one of those premium seats that you got to pay a little extra for. So maybe you got upgraded or something. Okay, that's fine. But look, you're still in coach.
Yeah, there's levels to this, right? Let's remind ourselves that you're not.
We
you're
live
not
in a
1A.
society. Okay.
Yeah, so back successfully, chilling, fine here. But the bad wake up call is it was 70s and 80s in Charlotte all week.
Yeah,
and it flipped from spring to summer here in Austin.
Yeah, it's summer.
We're officially
it's summer now.
90 plus degrees every single day. So it's pool season for us every weekend.
Yeah, it did the same thing here this week in Savannah, where I got in the car and we were at triple digits. So it's here. It's summer. It's May in the South. It's
fast, and I'm still 2 months away from the drive up to the Midwest, so I got to work through another 60 days of the brutal heat.
Look, just think about how much harder this would have been, 150 years ago.
Yes.
There's a reason why you would just sit out on the porch at a rocking chair during the day sipping sweet tea and mint juleps. So
yep, that was the life back then. Good reference.
So, there you go. All right, let's do a little tuned in and share what we're tuning into outside of the world of sports. I finally watched a movie from, when did it come out? Last year, I think. Twisters.
Yes. Love the OG, love the sequel.
I actually still never seen the original.
Oh my God. Well, that's because you don't have cable anymore. Because, by the way, cable television still showing Twister multiple times a week and on the weekends. That has not changed in 30 years. It's unbelievable.
Wow. Good to know there's some consistency in the world.
There is.
Yep. Twisters. It was all right.
Glenn Powell.
Was, Glenn Powell in the rain with his white t-shirt and cowboy hat.
There you go.
Give me some of that.
Yep.
Look, there's
comfortable in my skin to say that out loud.
There are a few few men in Hollywood that make my motor going, and he might be one of them. So, no. Other than that, look, it was there were some maybe questions about plot and direction, and it was all very expected. You kind of saw it. You kind of knew what was going to happen before it happened.
Yep.
I think it obviously would have been a very, very different experience seeing this in theaters. But at home on the TV,
that probably is a theater movie. You're right.
Yeah, at home on the TV, it was like, yeah, all right, it's okay. So
big sound effects type of movie, indeed.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, cool. Glad you finally saw it. My tuned in was really on the plane rides. The tuning in on the plane. I flip my phone. You know me. I'm so archaic with this. I like watching live TV on the plane. So I go into the American free Wi-Fi and entertainment, and I literally go into live TV, and they have 12 or 15 channels, and I'll watch boring live TV there. But what do you actually watch or do when you're on a plane these days?
I bring a book, and then I never read the book.
Yes, classic. Yep.
I will look out the window. Because I do love to just, especially there's no clouds. I always love looking out the window.
Yep.
If there is, I'll maybe try to, if there's free entertainment on the seat back, I'll try to find, TV show or movie maybe to put on as well. So.
Yep. And you and I are cheap when it comes to stuff like that. I did not realize that American Airlines can let you just log in and you can watch a 30-second ad and you can just get 20 minutes of just free Wi-Fi without having to pay a dime in your flight.
Dude. If you're on Delta and you have a Delta Sky Mileage account, you get free. You don't even need to watch an ad. It's free.
That's why Delta's goaded for that current.
Yeah, it's also why they're more money. But
in the moment, exactly. That's why you're paying a little bit more. That's the premium. But good to know if you want to be cheap out there and you still want a little Wi-Fi access. Mid-flight, 20 minutes free Wi-Fi on American Airlines flights. Just watch one ad. Then you can do the little mid-flight check-in. You can check the scores, text the friends and family, give them the update, and then get back to looking out the window.
Yep. There you go. That's the way to do it sometimes. All right, let's get to the turn and this week's guest. Alex, you've been at a bunch of different tournaments now, which means you're rubbing elbows with all sorts of people in the industry.
Yeah, the media center is busy.
Yeah. That means you get to connect with all these different broadcasters who have been doing this for a long time. And there's one who you got to connect with on the digital side of CBS Sports golf coverage.
Indeed, yeah. And I first saw him because, I work at a golf course part-time and they have CBS Sports on their TVs a lot. So I kept seeing his face talking about golf before I even heard him utter a word. And then I finally got to connect here at the PGA Championship with Patrick McDonald from CBS Sports. All right, we're here at Quail Hollow with Patrick McDonald, CBS Sports. Patrick, how's it feel to be at this beautiful venue here for the PGA Championship?
It feels a little weird, honestly, right? I was here last year for the Wells Fargo, formerly known as RIP.
Yeah.
And so coming back for a major championship, a little odd, right? Just because it's a PGA Tour venue, see it every year, but excited with all the storylines and all the stars playing so well.
There's a lot of interesting commentary around this course.
Oh, yeah.
Like good, bad, and in between. There was even a funny Kardashians reference this week from Hunter Mahan saying that this course is kind of big, beautiful, and fancy, but lacks in character. Where do you kind of stand on this venue specifically? I think the PGA of America does an awesome job of switching up the venues, but where do you stand kind of on that commentary about this course in general?
I will say I think it is a great venue to host a big event. I think about all the infrastructure, how much room they have with all the activations with the corporate sponsorships. From that regard, I think it's great. It's exactly what the PGA of America wants. There's going to be an exciting finish with the Green Mile. All the stars are playing well. I try to kind of get out of the architecture conversation. That's not my bread and butter, so to speak. And I think what golf kind of does poorly, people covering it, there's so much groupthink in golf. And so once a popular figure or someone says something, everyone kind of latches onto it. And now everyone thinks that. So I think Quail Hollow, is it the best test? Is it going to ask the correct questions? Maybe not. But think about 99% of golf fans. Do they really care about that? No. They care about Bryson and JT and Rory and Scottie coming down the stretch, playing some difficult golf holes, and that's what we have here. So I'm kind of indifferent about it. It obviously is a great host when you pick or encapsulate everything about the PGA Championship, but I also see, the architecture guys, why they might not like it.
Interesting. So we see you regularly on CBS Sports. I was joking that I work part-time at a golf course, and your face is basically on the screen of the 19th hole all the time for our club goers who are analyzing their rounds. But tell everyone a little bit about what you do on a day-to-day basis for CBS Sports.
Yeah, day-to-day, since we are kind of the broadcast partner for the Masters and the PGA Championship, I'm more on the digital side, and it's everything we can do to lift up the broadcast. So we have a 24/7 news network. We have the CBS Sports Network as well, which will run programming. I'll write for CBSSports.com. We have our YouTube preview show with Shane Bacon, social stuff also. So pretty much everything non-broadcast related on the digital front, I'm involved in one way or another.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool content that I've seen from CBS Sports as well, too. Creators like Hallie Ledbetter and Roger Steele, getting out there and swinging on the course. What's been behind that initiative for CBS to kind of introduce more modernized content to supplement everything that the tournament gives for coverage?
Yeah, our social girl, Tracy Payton, she's unbelievable. She's a workhorse. She's so good at her job, always on the forefront of what's next. And Hallie and Roger, they're doing a clubhouse report, I think, after every round on CBS Sports Network with Kelly Tillman and a few others. So if you need a recap, that's going to be great for you. And I think it's just, CBS and the leadership, they've been willing to kind of explore new things and fail, which I think is underappreciated.
Oh, I'm all about throwing everything up against the wall and let's just see what sticks, and then we'll follow up with that one more.
And so because of that, you get a lot of good ideas that come to fruition, right? And so I think I've been very appreciative of them being able to, take a little medicine and realize like, oh, this might not work, but it leads to another opportunity.
Very cool. So you're obviously very busy covering the game itself, but when you do have time to get out on the course, what does that look like for you? Where do you play and how's your game?
So I'm based in Charleston, South Carolina. I'll be at the Muni as much as I can. Have a few friends who are members in the area, friends on Kiowa Island also. So I'll get out there as much as possible. I'll definitely mooch off of them. Have no shame in that regard. Game-wise, short game's an issue. I'm not going to lie. I'm a decent ball striker. I'll get you, I don't know, like 10 fairways, 12 greens in regulation.
Oh, nice.
I'll have some great scoring opportunities.
We'll be a good scramble because I'm all short game and no power.
Oh my gosh, short game and putting. Like I played a couple weeks ago, 40 putts.
Oh my.
40 putts.
Wow.
Yes.
That's almost impressive.
Yeah, no, it was very...
You got a full tour of the putting greens there.
Yeah, so if you have any tips or anyone out there, I'm all ears.
Nice. Well, we always end with our 19th hole question for our guests. So I guess let's think about Kiowa. Maybe you finish with a decent, hole in 18 at Kiowa, and you get into the 19th hole. Mm-hmm. What's your order? What's your meal and your drink order in the clubhouse after the round?
Okay, if we are doing, let's say we're at the Ocean Course, because I do love the Ryder Cup bar at the Ocean Course.
Good day, afternoon, evening finish with the guys.
It's unbelievable. Pimento cheese is a hot topic come major championship season at the Masters. But the Ryder Cup bar does a pimento cheese grilled cheese, which is dynamite. So if you're over there on the Ocean Course, I would recommend that. As for a drink, I typically go with how the sun is. So once it gets dark, I turn towards the brown. And I'm very simple. Just give me bourbon with a whiskey rock, and that's it.
That's good. I like how you say you go with the sun. I appreciate that. You're the first person to put that analogy to the drink.
Yeah, so we'll go light, right? Whether that's, I know transfusions are all the rage.
Sure. Yep.
I'm more of a ranch water guy myself. I don't like adding too
nice
much.
And light.
Yeah, and then once it gets dark, I'll go brown.
Love it, Patrick. Thanks for hopping on, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, appreciate you, man.
Course of Life podcast is brought to you by Zencastr. We've been using Zencastr here since almost the very beginning as how Alex and I record this podcast from hundreds of miles away. And it provides us with great quality audio that works every time. And it's something that makes Course of Life what it is and has kept us being able to make consistent episodes every week. And now it's super easy to record a podcast with Zencastr. You log in using your browser and start recording a high quality podcast right away. You record studio quality sound and up to 4K video with your guests. You feel a sense of zen knowing Zencastr's multi-layered backups ensure you always have your recordings in the highest quality, even if the connection is unstable. And have you ever wondered what you actually sound like? Zencastr's post-production process makes you sound buttery smooth. It automatically removes those ums and ahs in your recording. It removes those awkward pauses in conversation too. Set the right podcast loudness and levels while reducing background noise with the click of a button. Head on over to zencastr.com/pricing and use our promo code Course of Life to get 30% off your first month of any Zencastr paid plan. We want you to have the same easy experiences we do for all of your podcasting and content needs. Again, that's zencastr.com/pricing and our promo code Course of Life. Zencastr, it's time to share your story. And we're back. Great chat there with Patrick. Love the 19th hole order. Pimento cheese, that's a Southern boy for sure.
Yep, based in Charleston. And that Ryder Cup bar at Kiowa, I can only imagine what type of vibes there are for that 19th hole. Pimento cheese, grilled cheese. That's nice, nice touch.
Look, you can't go wrong with pimento cheese. And then if you add bacon and you grill it, freaking amazing.
Now we're cooking. Love it.
You've had pimento cheese on a burger before, right?
I have. Yeah. I just had one of those recently. I'm forgetting where, but it was great. And that was a great 19th hole experience as well. So be sure to follow along here for more 19th hole experiences from our guests like Patrick. If you enjoyed that conversation or any of the clips you heard earlier, again, hit that subscribe button right now while you're listening so you can stay up to date with us for our weekly podcast.
All right, let's head to the back nine. Let's start with the NBA playoffs. Alex, how sad are you feeling right now?
Dejected.
It's
humiliated.
It's not great.
Yeah, because this is a New York loss too for me. That's what makes this one sting a little bit harder. It's not that this is a Celtics playoff loss when we really should have beaten this team easily.
I mean, look, you did beat this team 3 times, and then you blew it.
Basically, yeah. I mean, it's the way the series was lost, blowing both games 1 and 2 at home with 20-point leads, and then screwing up again in a tough game 4 spot, and then absolutely getting our doors blown off. And I thought there'd be a little bit more fight after the game 5 win. So definitely looking back and remembering that the Celtics championship run last year was the easiest championship run I'll ever experience in my life. And once this team finally had to face a little bit of adversity, we're realizing they might not be quite as dominant and amazing as we thought they were. So humbled after another Celtics playoff loss.
So the Knicks move on. They'll face the Pacers, who knocked off the top seed Cavaliers.
Yeah, and this is your vibe right here. It's the final series that TNT is doing NBA broadcasting. Very sad, by the way. But they're going out with Knicks Pacers, and Reggie Miller is going to be on the call.
I mean, look, this is not a bad matchup anyway. And then to have Reggie Miller, it'll be good. They got to get Patrick Ewing out there, too, just for kicks and giggles.
I mean, they might as well just throw fists at center court, right? Let's just bring it back to the 90s.
Do it.
That was my NBA.
But then we need to put him on NBC so we can get Roundhouse
coming
Rock.
Next year, Round Ball Rock. I can't wait. It's going to be so great.
There you go. It's going to be awesome. Over on the Western Conference, it is the top-ranked Thunder and the number 6th-ranked Minnesota Timberwolves. So the Thunder are the only top seed left, obviously. The only seed from the top 2 left anywhere in the tournament.
Indeed.
Is this their finals to lose now over these next
Probably, yeah. I'm kind of rooting for the underdogs here in the Midwest teams in Minnesota and the Pacers. If it was Minnesota and the Pacers, Adam Silver and the NBA execs will kill themselves from a ratings department.
It'll be a super low-ranked NBA finals.
I mean, actually, truthfully, let's just look at all 4 of the teams left here. Really, it's the Knicks are just holding the ratings up all by themselves here for the rest of the NBA playoffs.
Yeah, that's true. So we'll see what happens. Give me your pick right now. Who's going to win right now? If you
it's Minnesota in 6 and it's Pacers in 7.
Ooh, there you go. Because you just want TNT to have as many games as possible right now.
I do, and Reggie Miller will do that choke. He'll do that choke sign right to the whole Madison Square Garden crowd after the Pacers win in 7. That's the moment.
All right. So the NBA wrapping up as they head toward their conference finals, but in the WNBA, the season has kicked off.
Yep.
It's actually happening. Indiana Fever 1-0.
Weekend 1 fireworks. Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese.
What a start. What happened here, man? What happened?
Angel Reese spent an entire offseason at the LeBron James School flopping is what happened. That's all I really saw in that blowout win for the Indiana Fever.
Angel Reese pushed I'm forgetting who it was from the Fever with 2 hands. And then Caitlin Clark didn't like that, so she pushed Angel Reese, and Angel Reese fell over.
It was barely that.
Didn't Caitlin Clark get teed up, right? So
flagrant. It was barely even a flagrant foul. It was just your average hand check foul as she was going up for a layup. It was nothing crazy. Of course, she wilts, wails, and flails to the ground, does a full barrel roll after that foul. So the antics between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese already heating up early in the WNBA season.
I'm glad we get at least 10 years of this.
Yeah, and I'm glad I'm seeing next weekend, you're going to be on CBS Sports, CBS National Spot. So we're not going to have to be this isn't like a hunting game anymore to find these games. They're just going to be available on big networks this season, which I'm excited about.
Yep. There you go. All right, let's talk football.
Yeah, Bill Belichick update real quick. There's not a ton of an update right now. He's basically just in a giant PR blitz to try and smooth over everything that's gone on with the Jordan Hudson drama. So he's doing selectively chosen interviews. Jordan Hudson's gone a little bit more in the background, and I noticed she's been a little bit quieter on social media. So take with that what you will.
Okay. Okay. Also, the new schedules dropped for the next season. I'm really excited. Let my Giants and your Patriots get to play together in preseason. That'll be
classic August game.
Wonderful or horrible. It'll be on Prime, so we get to watch it on network television.
Oh, that's fun. I'll make a whole thing of that in Illinois and go out to the bar for a preseason game that no one else cares about. That's totally what I would do in August. I can totally see myself doing that.
Sure. Otherwise, for the Giants, it's they're gonna win 4.
4 and 13's your call. Okay.
Maybe 5, but probably we're gonna be conservative and say 4.
I'm going to do an aggressive call because I have to. Aggressive. Patriots got an easy schedule, not a ton of horrible road games, no West Coast trip at all. 8 and 9, Michael.
Ooh.
That's right. We can win 8 games and we can pretend like we're in playoff contention past Thanksgiving. There's our goal for the season.
Okay.
Yep.
We'll see how it goes. I'm looking forward to you guys beating us up November 1st or December 1st. When the Giants have the super late bye week right after that on week 14.
December 1st. That a national?
Monday, December 1st. Monday Night Football. Oh, my
God. Yes.
Patriots
everything we could ever ask for.
Hosting the Giants. The Giants are going to be tired because they have week 14 bye week.
Oh, we're both going to both be different forms of bad by then. It's going to be great.
We'll see. We'll check back in then and we'll see how bad we feel about ourselves when we get there. Let's talk a little baseball, softball.
There's a ton of that on TV right now. This is that mode where you flip on any ESPN network and there's college baseball or softball on pretty much any time of the day right now.
Yep. So let's talk college softball. Texas A&M, the top ranked Aggies in the regional round, lost to Liberty University, becoming the first ever number 1 ranked seed to be defeated in the regional round since seeding began back in 2005.
I'm going to say the analogy there is that's probably like a 16 seed beating a 1 seed on the March Madness bracket right there.
Yes.
That's what that feels like to me.
It is. Yes.
Wow. Damn.
Except Liberty is not ranked.
Not even ranked.
Not even ranked. So there you go.
That's big time 16-1 vibes there. Okay. I'll be watching for the Longhorns. I know they'll be in the thick of it this spring as well.
There you go. Over on the professional side of the baseball in the MLB, Yankees still just crushing the ball. Plus 90 run differential, best in the majors. Your Red Sox 5 games back.
Yep. Rafael Devers still putting up a stink about playing in the field, so he's not right now. We're just leaving him alone, and now he's starting to hit well. So
is he going to get traded?
There's been talk of that in the last week or two, but of course now his bat lights up. Right as that story gets to a fever pitch, all of a sudden the back wakes up. He's the best hitter on the team again. So it's amazing how a few home runs just smooths the problem over. There
you go. Yeah, that's true. You start producing, and then everybody's okay with you.
Name of the game.
There you go. All right, let's hashtag always end with food.
Yep, food talk to wrap up this week's Course of Life podcast. And Michael, I always have that humbling moment where I go from covering a major championship to flying coach in the aisle seat behind a loud, annoying guy.
Look, maybe if you flew more, you'd have great status, and they would just throw you some whiskeys.
I don't, and I can't afford it either way. But the real humbling moment is when you get to the Charlotte airport and there's just nowhere to sit or stand, and you're hungry, and you just want something quick. And you get a slice of pizza, and your jaw hits the floor when you see how much one slice of pizza is. And this is Charlotte Airport, Michael.
It's from Sbarro, right?
I mean, basically, it was called PZA was the name of the establishment. I'm sure it's some sort of Southern chain pizza thing or whatever. Yeah, this was a slice. All right, this is a slice of pepperoni. So we're just cheese and pepperoni, Michael. One slice. What did I get out of there for?
Well, is this one slice maybe like a quarter of the pie? Like how?
It is 1/6 of the pie.
Okay. It seem like a big pie?
Give me a big pie, so I will call it a larger one slice, and I'll stop at that. Okay. How much do you think it was?
Okay. So just the slice of pepperoni pizza, no soda included or anything,
Nothing.
Right? Okay, $10.
I wish it was $10, Michael. I wish.
Man. 15?
The cheese slice was $10.99 plus tax, bringing the pepperoni slice of pizza to $11.99, greasy and all, plus tax, $12.98.
How much with a soda? $16, $17?
Yes. I think the combo was in the $16 to $17 neighborhood. Yes.
Wow.
Tough times these days.
Did they sell a whole pie? How much for a whole one?
Yeah. I made a note. I think it was in the high 30s or low 40s. So yes, that is a bargain. If you're willing to splurge on 6 slices for a whole pie for your family, you can get out of there for under $50. How about that?
That's not bad in an airport, actually.
That's where we're at these days.
All right. Well, I did not spend. I spent maybe close to that on how much food
I think
got,
you maybe
actually.
got a little bit more where you went. That's my guess.
A little bit more. I did go. Savannah now has a Dave's Hot Chicken.
Oh, okay, very famous.
So had to go try them out. I will say I'm a wuss. I just got the mild.
Yep. That's fine. It's a slow build for people who haven't tried the Nashville brand of hot chicken.
Yeah.
The mild is what I would equate to, and this is what I like to do, is kind of like a buffalo medium for wing sauce. That's the analogy I like to make. So, it's pretty high scale.
No, I'd say it was actually more mild than that. I even tried, so I got a slider and a tender. Slider is big. I don't know if you've been to Dave's Hot Chicken. Their sliders, quote unquote, are big.
Okay, good to know.
But I got the mild. My wife got the medium. I did try a bite of her medium heat, and I probably easily could have done the medium. And overall, I thought it was pretty good. Chicken was crispy. Sandwich was good. Why does every chicken place have the same exact sauce though?
Oh, the ketchup, mayonnaise, orangey,
like
fusion,
Chick-fil-A,
Raising Cane's thing.
Popeyes, Raising Cane's, Dave's Hot. It's all the same sauce. I'm sorry.
Yep.
It's the
Everyone
same
just
thing.
keeps hitting the exact same button with that sauce.
That said, it's a great sauce. I love it.
Yes. Let me go ahead and skewer the sauce that I do love, but let me skewer it real quick.
It's great. Overall, I thought it was pretty good. My wife thought that she thought it was good, but prefers Zaxby's. Yep. But I thought it was pretty good. I was pretty happy with it.
Okay. There's our food experiences, and always end with food to wrap up another great Course Life podcast. Thank you for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed all the coverage from the PGA Championship. Be sure to hit that subscribe button right now and stay tuned for us because we'll see you next week.